Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So today we'll be reviewing set B, okay, of the paper 2. Uh, the difference between set A and set B is that set A is supposed to show you uh, how easy the paper can be, and set B will be on the harder spectrum. Okay, that's what I noticed, okay, when I was doing the maths specimen paper. Okay, I'm not sure if it's true for math because this is the first time I'm doing this paper. So we'll go through it together. Okay, sorry for my voice. It's gonna sound a little bit weird, okay, because I've been coughing for the past few days and I'm recording it quite early. Now it's about 6:34 in the morning. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. Oh, before we start the video, let's roll in the sponsor of the video for today. Aha! There's actually no sponsor at all. It's just a shameless plug. Okay. So just want to let you guys know that I offer math and math tutoring. Okay. So if you're interested, okay, you can leave your name, your contact number, and I will send you the personal info and reach out to you personally later on after you fill out the Google form. So if you have any question, feel free to leave it down in the comment section and I will show you more details about the class. Okay, so try to see what I can put into the Google form. So let's get back to it. All right, so this is paper 2. So as per usual, it's a non-calculator paper now. So we have to get rid of the calculator and let's get started here. First question, okay, asking us to show it in the simplest form. Okay, this one's quite straightforward. All you need to do is to show that show it in fraction, then it should be solvable very directly. Okay, both of them is divisible by 3, making it a 10 and 4. If you divide it further by 2, you will get 2 and 5. So 2, 5 should be the final ratio here. So next thing, numbers of line of symmetry for a kite. So line of symmetry for a kite will look something like this. Two sides with the shorter end and then two sides on the other. So for this type of shape, there will only be one line of symmetry, which is when you cut it down right from the middle. Okay, so it's about a little bit not proportionate here because I was drawing it with freehand, but the numbers of line of symmetry of this kite will be 1. Question 3, stem and leaf diagram. How I normally solve this question is that I will look into the key first. So if you have 1 at the front, it represents the tens, okay, and then the 2 at the back is representing the exact minute. So it's 12 minutes here based on the key. So for range, the standard way to do it is to find the smallest number and the biggest number. Smallest numbers in this case will be 12. The biggest number here will be 39. So to find the answer, just take 39 minus 12. You will get 27. Okay. Question B, asking you for the median. Okay. So there's apparently 18 students. So very likely when I reaches the center, there will be two numbers that I wouldn't slash off. And you have to find the midpoint between the two. So to verify whether my assumption was true, I have to remove the smallest number first, then the biggest, smallest, 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 biggest, and we arrived at 24 and 28. So I mentioned earlier we're supposed to find the midpoint between them. So when you divide it by 2, it should turn out to be 26. So that's how you solve this question 3. That is from a stem and leaf diagram. So far, so good. I think it's not very hard, so to say. So moving on to question C. It's a pie chart based on the info from the stem and leaf diagram. So those that ranges between 10 to 20, we apparently have 4 of them. Those that ranges from 220 to 20, 20 to 30 is 8 of them. And those that ranges from 3, there's apparently 6 of them. So the angle on the pie chart, to calculate that, it will very likely be 4 over the total apparently is 18 of them, and then you need to multiply it by 360. So good news is that now that they make the numbers, okay, cannot be calculated using calculator, okay, everything seems to be a factor of the other. So 18, when you divide it, 360 divided by 18, you will get 20. 20 times 4 is 80 degree for the first one. Okay, so repeat the same thing for the other two, where you have 8 over 18 times 360. Okay, for those wondering why the 360 specifically, it's because for a full circle, it is 360. So last one, we have 6. You will get 120 degree. Okay, so the first page is done. Okay, so far nothing quite too challenging. I assume that it's gonna come out around the 20s range. Okay, slowly get harder from here. So again, very simple fraction question. 7 can be divided by 7. 14 divided by 7 will be 2. 3 becomes 1. This becomes 5. So from that, you will get 2 over 5 as your simplest form. Next thing is question 5. Question 5 is to find a size of an interior angle of a regular decagon. So decagon is the catch here. I'm not sure if you memorize the list. We have pentagon, hexagon, heptagon. Uh, after heptagon is octagon, nanogon, then decagon. Okay, the keyword here is size of an interior angle, means that the formula that you're going to use will be n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. And decagon have 10 sides, so once you carry out a calculation, you should get the answer as so the answer turns out to be 144. Moving on. Okay, question 6, 5.7 liters into centimeters cube. This question here is testing you whether you remember 1 liter worth of water is actually 1000 centimeters cube. So following this conversion, all you need to do is to shift the 5.7 by 3 zeros, which is 5700 centimeters cube. Okay, nothing fancy here. Okay, the question is quite direct. Okay, it's just 5700. So next question is the funniest, because back then when it comes to solving this question, we always rely a lot on calculator. So now that calculator is out of the picture, we have to do it manually. So this one is done, this one is done. So for those who don't quite understand how to convert percentage into decimals, all you need to do is to make it into a division first, division of 100, and then you will get 0.16 almost immediately. So those that require a little bit of calculation is actually 1 over 6 and 3 over 20. So I'm going to show you the manual way, okay, where you start off with zeros, you add a dot, you got 30 now, 1, you got 20 again, now you have 100, you have 5. Okay, so I got 0.15 there, and then 1 divided by 6, very similar method, but this will likely be a recurring decimals, I think. Okay, I'm making an assumption here. Yep, it is recurring decimal. So it's 1.6666666666. So with this information, I'm able to reorganize them now. The smallest is actually 0.143. Okay, time to time I do receive this silly mistake here. So just to show you, please, please, please do not write out what you have calculated. So if you attach 0.15 as your answer, it will be wrong. Okay, so you need to write it back in its original form, which is 3 over 20, followed by 16% and 1 over 6. This is how you get your full answer here for question 7. Okay, never ever write whatever that you have calculated. Next, question 8. Jude has a fair 8-sided spinner. Okay, numbers from 1 to 8. Jude only spin it once. Find the probability that it lands on numbers greater than 6. So the catch here is it must be greater than 6. So a very common mistake that students do here is they just go ahead and count it. Or how many of them? It's actually more than 6. So it's quite obvious that it's only 7 and 8. Then they will just slap a 2 here. This is wrong because they overlook the fact that they are looking for probability. So there was total of 8 possible outcome. You need to divide it and make it in the simplest form, showing that it's 1 over 4. For the second part, where it's even number or multiple of 7. So the term or here means that they look at them as the same. So I'm gonna circle again based on the thing. So even number, we have 2, 4, 6, 8. Multiple of 7, we only have 7 here. So in total, I've circled it about 5 times. 5 over 8 is your final answer. Okay, so this one is for question A, 1 and 2. So one more thing that I would like to highlight is that if in exam you wanted to write it in decimal, you want to make your life harder, or the number is quite straightforward that you already memorize it, you can go ahead and do so because they accept answers that wasn't simplified. They do that. They're okay with it. They are okay with you simplifying it, which is the 1 over 4 here. And if you insist, you can write it in decimals like 0.25 if you want. So that's the 3 acceptable answers here. Next, for question B, Jude spin the spinner 240 times. They wanted to check the expected numbers that is greater than 6. So this is they rinse and repeat the question basically, but this time they give you the numbers of try. So you're supposed to split this by 4 and you get your answers. So from here, based on the calculation, you will get 60 times that they expect to land on 240. Okay, so question 9, because I'm now on a iPad here, later on we will have, okay, let's move our screen. Hold up. I'll first draw out a 6 cm line over here. Okay, don't mind
The cam is a little bit slanted because I don't have my gears. Okay, so you have to measure 6 cm with your compass here. Draw an arc. Repeat the same thing on the other end of the line. Right. So here comes the most crucial part. You have to draw a 9.5 cm long arc. So this will be connecting from one end to the other. Okay, so you must make sure that it touches one of the arc that you previously draw. Okay, then one last step, measure another 6. Okay, this will be from the point of intersection that you have towards the other arc that you drew earlier. So join them up and you will get to the rhombus that the question requested.
Okay, so that's how we do it. I will have a detailed explanation coming up. Moving on to question 10, we have the time that Rafik works in divided into meetings, plannings, workings on a computer. Okay, blah 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 blah. They ask us about the total time of Rafik works that day. So first and foremost, you must take note that they gave us two fractions here. So I know that my total time is always 1, okay, under such circumstance. Okay, so when I wanted to find working on computer, all I need to do is to take 1 and minus it off with 3/4 and 1/5. Okay, so 1 can be anything, but before that, I decided to sort out the rest first. So I'm gonna make them into the same denominator. We have 20 and I have 4. This is a reminder that once you combine them up, it's a 19/20 kind of situation. So 20 minus 19, you will get 1/20. Okay. So this shows us that 1/20 of the total time work, they are working on the computer. So total time times 1/20, I will get back to 25 minutes. Okay, so when I readjust and make total time the subject, you have 25 divided by 1/20, making it 25 times 20. So to speed up the calculation, the method that I always use in my mind is that I multiply it by 10 first, making it 250. 250 times 2 is just 500 minutes. Okay, all this method has been taught to you I think around the age year 6 and 7. Okay, this is some of the very simple mind math trick. Okay, it's widely used back then when you're not allowed to use calculator. Okay, so they realized that students have built up a very bad reliance on calculator. That's why they remove it from the uh, current exam format. So you have to convert this into hours and minutes. So when you divide it by 60, okay, what should I do? 480 of 20 minutes left. So the answer for me, it will be 8 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, so that's it for this question 10 here. Nothing too special. Mainly is that they wanted to see if you know how to treat the total time as 1. Expand. My favorite because it's gonna be quick and simple. So please take note that the 2x will be multiplied into both of them to be fair. That's how you get 6x cubed and also 16x squared. Okay, once you multiply it out, you're done. When it comes to factorization, you have to split it into two brackets here. You have x plus 19 and x minus 19. Okay, we finally have the chance to test you on this concept that we always ignore here, which is if x was given as 81 today, all you have to do is to take 81 minus plus 19 and 81 minus 19 to work out the answer. So you actually get something like 81 minus 19, 11, you get 262 for one of them. Then on the other side, when you add it up, it will become 100. So this is 6,200 as your final answer. So I didn't show you the full details multiplication because there was just two zeros there. Just multiply with 62, you will get 6,200. Pretty straightforward. Okay, question 12. A force of 196 Newton is applied to a square surface of a side of 4.9. So first thing first, I'll draw a square with 4.9 first. 4.9 on each side, and then they gave us the formula. It was Newton over centimeters square. So if I write it out, it's actually this. Okay, the reason why it was squared is because it was a square, which all sides to get the area, you need to square it up. Okay, so far all good. And before I continue, they said by writing each number into one significant figures first, then estimate the pressures applied to it. So 196, the first significant figures is here. When you point towards the back, it's gonna round it up, becoming 200. And then for 4.9, the first significant here, point towards the back, is gonna round it up as well. So based on this calculation, 200 will be divided by 25. So the final answer is just 8. Do not go and calculate the whole thing, and always pay attention to the second phrase of the equation. They said that it was corrected to one significant figures, okay, first before you perform the calculation. So take note on that, then you won't waste your time over this question. Okay, the next one is asking us to reflect triangle A from the line y equals to x plus 2. So for y equals to x plus 2, you're supposed to have a table here that when x is 0, y is 2. When y is 0, x will be negative 2. So the first one I don't have to show because this is just your y-intercept. This one I would like to show it to you, which is when y equals to 0, x plus 2. To make x the subject, the positive 2 is going to turn into negative 2. So negative 2, positive 2. Draw a straight line over here, and we have to reflect our triangle A. Looking at it, it's something like this. Okay, this was the reflection line and the reflected subject. Okay, remember to count the corners. This is the first corner. Pointing towards it, it was half. Then here, pointing towards it, it was another half. So this was the first step that I did. Then I counted this part here, 1.5. So half and 1, getting me this answer here. Okay, so far 2 point is done. We have one last one to go. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3 up here. So with that performed, you should be able to draw out the triangle now. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is my first part's answer. Okay, they didn't ask us to label what exactly it was, so I will just do a standard thing, which is to write down a remark here that this is meant for A1. So another one, we have a scale factor of 3 over 2. Okay, if you hated fraction, feel free to change it into decimal. It's just 1.5 times larger. From the center, 1, 0. So 1, 0, okay, surprisingly, it's from this particular part here. So I'm going to use a different color. Okay, so this was the center of enlargement. To find the answer, I always solve out the vertical and horizontal line first, no matter what happened. So the vertical line was 2. So you have to take 2 times 1.5, you get 3. So later on when we draw, it's going to go up here, and this is the enlarged sides of this triangle A. And if it's the bottom, there was a 3 there, 3 times 1.5. You will get how much? It's approximately 4.5. Okay, so 4.5 is around here. Join it up, and lastly, form the last line that connect these two. Okay, is it me or it looks a little bit off? I think I did some miscalculation here because it clearly doesn't seems to match. Okay, let me do it manually. What am I yapping, 3 times 1. Half of 3. It's 4.5 though. 4.5 is here. Okay, it was correct, but I labeled it wrongly. Because 1, 2, 3, 4.5. That's why when I draw the graph, it doesn't make sense. Just now what I drew was a 3.5. Okay, so don't repeat the same mistake like I did, because I thought the triangle starts from the point of origin earlier. So draw it up. Remove the excess, and yeah, that should be it. Okay, so this was a triangle here, and again label it as A number 2. Then the last one, they want us to figure out how did A get to B. So this part here, I will analyze and choose 2 of the points first. So let's say I've chosen these lucky ones here. Looking at it, I would assume that it was like a pendulum. So provided uh, the center of rotation is somewhere around here, then only I can help to swing the triangle A down to triangle B. So we remove the rest first. Okay. Otherwise, it's too confusing having too many figures here. Then let me do a quick check in my mind. I found it. It was here. So some students might ask, why is it so? Because I just draw a rectangle here. They're actually the diagonal of this rectangle that connects them up. Then when I use this particular point as the center of rotation, when I rotate it 90 degree, it will again meet at the diagonal. So if you're using the tracing paper method, you rely a little bit too much on it. So in exam, you never know, you might forget to bring the tracing paper. So you still need to know how to get it done manually. So now when I remove the rectangle, I can safely tell you that this right here is definitely a 90 degree. So with that, we have found the toughest info that was hidden from us, which is the center of rotation of -2, 1. So when I write it out, it will be rotation. This is 1 mark of 90-degree clockwise. This is my second mark. And from the point, -2 and 1. That's how you picture it and identify the answer straight away. So this is for question B. Right, 0.38 as a fraction. Okay. So back then, again, we rely a lot on calculator for this. So I'm guilty of that too. So I'm gonna test if my method back then would work now. So the 8 with a dot means that the 8 was repeating. My standard idea was to make it until 4 decimal. Okay. Then because there was only one dot means 10x. After 10 folded, you will get 3.8888. Again, I keep it as 4 decimal. 10x minus x will get me a 9x here. Meanwhile, the 3.8888 minus off with 0.3888, I will get a balance of 3.5. Okay, if you're wondering how, you can just write it out. The 8 at the back will all cancel each other with a balance of 3.5. So when you remove the 9, it will be 3.5 divided by 9. When you remove the decimals there, okay, basically double it up, making it into 90. So W students will stop here, but again, there's a catch here, which is simplest form. Everything still needs to be divided by 5, making it a 7 in the numerator and an 18 at the denominator. So this is how you convert this recurring decimals into fraction. Okay. So one of the questions that I didn't expect it to come here because you have to do all this calculation manually. So please be confident to yourself when it comes to solving this. If you remember the method, everything should be quite straightforward going. So question 15, Freya records how many minutes she takes to complete the crossword each day. Okay, Tuesday takes 10% less than Monday. Okay. On Wednesday, it takes 15% less time than Tuesday. Wednesday is 9 minutes. So I set my Monday as the unknown first. On Tuesday, it was 10% less time. 10% means 90%. Okay, because of 100 minus 10. 90% of x, making it 0.9 x. Okay, so Wednesday is half of Tuesday, 50% of Tuesday. Basically telling us that it was half of 0.9x, making it 0.45x. So this 0.45x is 9 minutes. 0.45x equals to 9. 45 over 100x equals to 9. Okay, the reason why I convert it back is because I have to divide them. If I maintain it, it's going to be tougher for me to calculate. So 900 over 45, this one will be much easier. So I just need 2 of them, making it 90, 0, 0, then done. So it's basically 20 minutes for X value. Okay, so question 15 is just 20 minutes based on my calculation. Question 16, asking you for PR. So I need to calculate it first, where we have PQ plus PR, AQR, where we have 3, -1 plus 1, 9. So the common mistake that I always receive here is students treating it as fraction. If you ever add a line, okay, you get 0 straight away. So do not make this kind of funny mistake. So numerator with numerator, Okay, or changes in x with changes in x, and you will get it as 4, 8. But please take note that do not just stop here, okay, because they are asking us for the length of PQ, PR actually. Just to help you to picture it, if I were to draw the grid currently at P, it was here, and then our R is located at 4, 8, P to R. So 4 steps here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Going up by 8 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So to so-called find this length, you're basically doing your Pythagoras theorem where you have 4 square plus 8 square. You will get 60 and 64, which have a total of 80. Okay, so that's how you find the answer here. Okay, I hope you understand this. If you have any question, feel free to let me know. That's all for question 16. Moving on to question 17, where we have this sector of a circle with radius of 6 and an area of 15 pi. Okay, work out the perimeter of the sector. So good news is that they are testing us on perimeter. So you actually have to remind yourself not to make this silly mistake where you've forgotten to add in the radius on this side. Okay, so that right there was 6. And then time to find the angle. So angle over 360 times pi r square should be 15 pi. The pi will cancel off in this process, and our 6 square will becomes how much? 36. 360 and 36 apparently can be cancelled off, where you have a balance of 10 here. So theta over 10 is 15. You will know that theta is actually 150 degree. So that's the first part of the calculation. Then going forward, we have 6 plus 6, and then the last thing is the arc length. So 150, 360 times 2 times pi times 6. So 6 plus 6 is 12. You will get 180 first, and then you will get something like 30. Cut off the zeros, and when 15 divided by 3, you will get 5 pi. So that's how you sort it out step by step to get your final answer here. Okay, so that's it for question 17a. 17b, they say this sector is a cross section of a prism with a length of 10. Give the volume of the prism. So good news for b number 1 is there's no calculation because they actually gave us the area of it already. So if you can't picture how it looks like, it's basically telling us that this sector is now has a length of 10. So this part here is the so-called 10 here. So with the 15 pi that you secured earlier multiplied by 10, you just get 150 pi. Okay, so the next thing, which is surface area here, this is quite tricky because you must be able to picture that you have this slab of rectangle, this rectangle here, and then two equal size of the top and bottom part of the prism. And then the last one is the curved surface area. So the rectangle is the easiest to calculate because they are just 6 and 10, 6 and 10. So there's basically 2 of the 6 times 10. Again, there's another 2 of the same thing because each is 15 pi. Okay, plus 2, 15 pi. The only part that you need to calculate separately is this. where you have a lot of arc length that you stack up by 10 centimeters thick. So 10 times the arc length that we calculated earlier, how much was it? It was 5 pi. So just multiply it out. You will get 120 plus 30 pi plus 50 pi, which the answer turns out to be 120 plus 80 pi. So everything is connected. That's why the arc length is very important here. Just going to draw again nicely for you. This was the info we got it earlier from the previous question. Next, question 18, asking us to sketch this out. First part is called the basic completing the square. Again, this is a formula that I like to use. I'll focus on the first two. And I always call this thing that I didn't highlight as the leftover. Okay, so the formats goes by this. Okay, bracket square plus leftover, so LO. Okay, plus our another bracket square. So what to fill in into this is our 10 first, and then remember what I highlighted? It was x. Okay, then no more square because I took it out. Okay, when you transfer it down, very important. If it's -8, make sure you attach -8. And the extra catch is you need to divide it by 2. So this is how you speed up the whole calculation. Okay, the brackets at the back is a reserved space for you to input what you newly created. Okay, what is the numbers that never appear in the equation? You can now let it set in at the back. So you get x minus 4 without any issue. The plus 10 will ended up minus, okay, I did a mistake here, should be minus 4 squared is 16, and that's it. Your final answer is x minus 4 square and minus 6 is how you split things up and get the answer almost immediately. Okay, so they want us to label the turning point. So this is the extension of it. From the completing the square that you've gotten, the x minus 4 will be equate into 0. This is a reminder to tell you that when x is 4, y is -6. This is your turning point. Okay, and then the next thing that I look at when it comes to drawing a quadratic will be the 10. 10 is our y-intercept. Okay, and yeah, label the coordinates of, they only specifically ask you specifically for this two. Okay, but my checklist goes by smiley or sad face. This is to check the x squared that we have here. If it's a positive, it will be smiley face. And then the reason why they didn't ask us for the x coordinates is because we can't get to 8x. Oh, now I know why. So because of the syllabus change, we can't find the exact x-intercept now if it's not a factorizable roots. So it looks something like this. Okay, my app crashed. How great. Thank you, Apple. So I'm just gonna speed run this thing here again. Ah. So since they mentioned needs to be like this, so please label your y-intercept as 10. The turning point is here with information about 4 and information about -6. So this is how you draw it, and please have the habit to write down what you are drawing, which is x squared minus 8x plus 10. Okay, this is to label out the line that you drew here. Moving on, a point lines on the graph, blah, 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 the gradient of it is 6. So this is a tricky thing, which when they ask you about gradient, is actually implying your differentiation. Okay. So for those who don't understand why, it's actually based on this concept where C is a constant. When you differentiate this, C will be gone because it doesn't have any unknowns. And then you will get the gradient straight away. So for those who is new to differentiation, please take note that you are transferring the power out. Okay, during the transfer process, your power will be reduced by 1. So same goes to the 8. If there's nothing there, means it's a 1. Negative 8 times 1, x1 minus 1. Please take note that if you don't have any unknown, you'll be ignored automatically, making the answer 2x minus 8. So some students will ask, where did the x go? X to the power of 0 is 1. Or basically anything to the power of 0 is also 1. Okay, if you don't trust me, you can try it out with your calculator. Okay, that's how you get your gradient here of 2x minus 8. 2x minus 8 equals to 6. 2x equals to 6 plus 8. X equals to 7, I guess. So you have got your coordinates here as 7. And the next thing is when x equals to 7, they wanted you to calculate out the y. 7 squared minus 8 times 7 plus 10. You get 3 as your final answer. Okay, so if you wonder where did the 59 come from, it's actually a total of 49 plus 10. Okay, I'm making it to a bigger positive number first before I perform the final calculation. Okay, so last few question here. Simplify. Okay, so I noticed that 75 is actually 25 times 3. And you will get 5 square times 3. And then the 5 can escape from the roots. So if you're stuck here, not knowing what to do next, just take the square root x as a x. Then everything become much clearer. You will just get 4 square root 3 in this process. Okay. So rationalize. Normally they won't put a brackets for you. You must force it yourself so that it reminds you on what to do and what not to do. The denominator is built on the concept called a square minus b square with an objective to remove the square roots because we can't have square root at the denominator. So 1 square minus square root 5 square. Top is just 8, 1 plus square root 5. I didn't make any changes on that. Okay, so the denominator will becomes negative 4 in this process. And negative 4 and 8 can be simplified, making it a final answer of negative 2, 1 plus square root 5. I didn't multiply it out because I wanted to show it in the simplest form, where the negative is still outside of it. Expand and simplify. Wow, let's do this. So because the arrangement is a bit off, I will normally do the one at the back first, creating 2x minus 3x squared, creating a positive 2 minus 3x. Remember, don't make your life hard. Please reorganize things nicely. Okay, before you perform your final expansion, where now 2x will be applied to all of them, getting you a negative 6x cubed, negative 2x squared, and a positive 4x. On the other hand, you have your negative 3 times negative 3x squared, you will get positive 9x squared. You get positive 3x and negative 6. So in this case, 6x cubed remains. Positive 7x squared, positive 7x, and minus 6 is my final answer. Okay, so this is for question 20. So we have last few questions to go through. Let's charge ahead and see what we have here. Question 21. They wanted cosine ADC. Cosine ADC is this. Cosine is so ka is adjacent and hypotenuse. Wow, so tedious. Okay, so I've planned out in my mind what to do. I'm going to find this first. Okay, focusing solely on the bottom triangle only. Okay, so looking at the bottom triangle, 6 is my opposite. This is my hypo, making me only have one option, which is to do sine 30 degree equals to 6 over CA. To make CA the subject, you will get 6 over sine 30. And now you have to memorize based on my calculation. CA is actually 1 over 2, making the answer 12. Okay, having the 12 here is not enough because I have to find the hypotenuse of this. So hypotenuse is referring to dA. Using Pythagoras theorem, I have to do 9 square plus 12 square. 9 is actually 81, 12 is 144. When these two add up, I will get 225, I think. Is it 225? 225 is actually 15 times 15. Then you can proceed with your cos ADC. It's actually adjacent and hypotenuse. It's 9 over 15 because ADJ is here, ka, and then hypo is your 15. So that's how you find your answer for cosine ADC. Can we simplify? Yeah, it can. If I divide it by 3, you'll get 3 over 5. Okay, so that's your answer lah. Okay, please take note that they stopped over here and they didn't ask us to find exactly how much is angle ADC. That's why there's no need for you to shift the cosine to the other side. Okay, leaving us to the last few questions here. Okay, let's go. Question 22. In this question, all lengths are given in centimeters. Prove that they are mathematically similar. So for me, I will actually draw out two different triangles. One looks like this, one looks like this, with D, E, A, B, C, A. So the bigger one have a total of x plus 12.5 and a side of 10. Here is 2x, here is x plus 5. So when you combine everything together, you get 10x plus 12.5 equals to 2x, x plus 5. So cross multiply them, you get this, and you will get this. $12.5 when you double it, yeah, should be correct. So you make 2x squared as the subject, plus 25x minus 10x minus 50. You get your answer as 15x minus 50 equals to 0. Okay, so that's how you find your answer. And then when it asks you to factorize it, okay, remember 2x times x is 2x squared. 50's part, I think I will do 35 times 2, not suitable. 5 times 10. Yeah, 5 times 10 works. Okay, but you will get 20x first. You get 5x. They wanted a 15, positive 15, so it's a plus minus. So the one at the front is a negative, the one at the back is a positive, making the answer 2x minus 5, x plus 10. So x will be 5 over 2, x will be negative 10. And that's how you find your answer. And find the length of AC. AC is x plus 12.5. Please take note that since you are measuring distance here, negative is rejected. So just take 2.5 plus 12.5. You will get 15 as your final answer. Area of triangle ABC is KCM squared. ABC is KCM squared. Okay. That's going to be interesting. So I have to update the results first now. This is K square. Okay, it's no longer, here we will get 15, here you get 7.5, here you will get 5. So when I compare them, I know that 5 to 10 is a skill factor of 2. So 5 times SF equals to 10, SF equals to 2. So small area times SF square equals to big area. This is the reason why you have to learn both of the method, which is comparison method and skill factor method. So we have the small area now by having the big area of K divided by 2 square. So you have K over 4 lah, basically. Okay, so this dude right here is K over 4. And they want us to find the quadrilateral, which means I have to take K minus K over 4 is my final answer. K minus K over 4 is my final answer, making it 4 over 4K minus 1 over 4K. You will get 3 over 4K. Okay, if you wanted to, you can also write it as 3K over 4 for your final answer. So last two questions, asking us to unite all of them. P itself is this. Okay, and then everything other than Q is this. And then everything other than R is this. So basically everyone that was ever being shaded is part of the answer, except for this middle part needs to remain empty. Okay, so once now I can remove everything and just draw one final time. Deliberately missing out the R part and the Q's overlapping. Okay, so this is how you show your final answer for question 23. Question 24, making P the subject. Multiply it up first. Okay, because I noticed there was 2P. So if I don't expand it, I can't make whatever that I want as the subject. I decided to bring all the P's to the back. Take out the P. And you get your final answer here, just like that. Okay, last page. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. So no calculation at all needed for the first question here. And then our 81 is actually 3 to the power of 4. And then M8, 3m squared. Okay, before I even involve the 2 over 3 from the outside, I decided to do some simplification first, getting me a 3, getting me a m6. So when those kicks in into the variables, it's a multiplication, where again, it can be further simplified as 3 square, and then a 4 here. So you can write your final answer as 4m squared, and that's it. Last final question is 32. 32 is actually 2 to the power of 5. Having an x on the side, multiply x plus 3 equals to 1 over 4. You get 5x plus x plus 3 equals to 1 over 2 square. When you combine them up, you will get this, and I decided to bring up my denominator, hence the result of -2 there. So now that the base is the same, you just have to calculate the top part. Okay, surprisingly, it wasn't any harder compared to the previous set. Okay, the question that I think might be a little challenging for students could possibly be question 22, that you need to pay a little bit more attention to it. Other than 22, questions that I think might be slightly challenging will be question 17, if their foundation is not strong. Then the rest is actually quite generic. Okay, so nothing too special over here. So that's pretty much it for the review of this paper 2. So the next 2 video that I'm posting will be the paper 4. Then I will review all the MS paper first before going back to the core paper from uh, the math part of things. So I hope you find this video helpful. If you have friends that is going to sit for exams and they're still struggling, feel free to share this video to them. And also, again, a shameless plug. Okay, so I'm offering math and math tutoring. Okay, it's a group class online. Okay, and then recordings will be provided, notes will be provided. What else? Additional support will be provided, where you can just reach out to me through my phone numbers and I will reply to you. And that's pretty much it. So if you have any question, feel free to check the link in the description. Leave your name, your details, and then I will reach out to you. Okay, see you. Bye.